Hiya, we're carrying on with all these bits off number 4 sheet that I'm doing. You'll have seen the last thing I did was the thumb screw. Now I can't remember because it's been ages whether I actually videoed these or not. These are dust seals. If I didn't, they were quite easy. Piece of aluminium, obviously. Machined it all out in there and then just parted them off. Left myself a little bit just before I finished parting them off, and if you got a good enough tool, part them off, they turn out okay. Anyway, onwards. Right, now that's the thimble there. What we're going to do as well is there is this shaft and that shaft and this like knuckle joint here which goes 90 degrees. Excuse me. So this shaft, which is this shaft here, now again I do apologise because it's been ages whether I filmed making it. It is just a normal shaft. I think it's made out of silver steel. Let's have a look. It is part 113. 113 tells me sport collar, 3-cut mild steel. Right, all it's doing basically is for, I think when you're setting your wheel up, you make these little tools. I shall find out as we go along and assemble the rest of it. But anyway, that's that bit done. And what I'm getting on for now is this collar. Goes on the column. It's nothing really technical in a sense. It holds this bar and this little whatever it's called. I've forgotten what it's called. It's part 115. It is the blade. So we do have the casting. Now there's the casting. I've rubbed it down a little bit and I'm trying to get it as parallel across there as possible. It finishes, according to the drawing, at 3/4 of an inch. So I have remaining on that thickness about 50 thou. Yes, he says to himself. I'm reading me, let's see, where am I going? No, I've not. I've about 20 odd there. It's undersized a little bit. It is when you go to the edges, right on the edges there. Right on the edges. The casting is just about, no it's not, it is undersized. So we're going to have to just make the best of it. It's just undersized there, yet over here it is nearly 1/2 mil undersized, considering that side's even smaller. But anyway, it's in fresh air. All it's doing is holding this bar. Sorry, all it's doing is holding this bar here. So what I'm trying to do, I'm doing a little bit of cleaning up, so I'm going to get a face round there where I'm touching. I've been putting some black marker on and trying to measure up between there and there and getting them about the same. It is running off a little bit. Can't really see it much. It is with that one. That side is about the flattest. So we're working on here. We've got a little bit of a bump here. I'm going to work it down and try and get a face there, which at least I can get a bit of a clock on to square it up. And same with the scriber, and pick the bore up. Like I say, it's nothing technical. It's a clamp. But anyway, bit of filing and get back to you. Right, don't ask me why I have the camera on fast forward. But anyway, I've put a 4 jaw inside my 3 jaw. It's only a small one. It's easier than putting the big one on. And this is me just squaring it all up and then getting the bore rough with a scriber so I'm ready for turning it on. Right, got this job set up in here. Like I say, filed all this flat to give myself a reference. Got it with inside a thou. Got a tip in here with a nice radius on it because you're going through this scale first off, and I use second-hand tips if I can because sometimes you knock the edges off them. Not bothered about surface finish on here, gripping on the hard jaws because it's all going to be cleaned up. I think it's 1.25 inch bore, so there's quite a bit at the moment to come out. He says looking around for his reel. Hang on. We're about 1 inch. So we'll get some clean up cuts and see how far we've got. Now obviously I know my bar goes all the way through because I've checked it. I'm going to set a 0 on my Z when it's coming out the other end. Because as yet I don't know if there's any eye spots in there. It's just touching there. Let's take a light skim. Not going fast. See how we go. We don't want to hit anything hard and have anything disrupt itself. Just put another 20 thou on. Obviously you can tell it's beginning to clean itself up. I've just took a couple of cuts and cleaned the scale up, and we are now on 1.20 inch thou down there. So I'll set that up on my DRO and I'll get within about 20 thou of the 1.25 inch. Right, now I should be with inside 10 thou. I know some people like using these and some people don't. Let's see how we've gone on. Well, you probably can't see the dial there, but what we got, 25, 35, 41, and somewhere on the tens, 2 I think, about there. 41 1/10. Right, so I've even got the shaft here. This is the shaft it's fitting on, and I have measured the shaft, and the shaft is 1 thou under. Now it's going to be clamped up and it's going to be moved up and down, so I'm going to go for thou up. So I'm going to go for 250, inch 250. So I'll reset my DRO. I'm going to reset my dial as well, even though it's in metric, and I'm going to make sure that I get the same size on either one. Right, that's size plus thou. Now like I say, because this is a clamp, a thou's going to be fine. It's got to move up and down. It's for setting, I think it's for setting the wheel up or something. It's not, it's for doing it by eye. So it's not super duper accurate, but a thou, I don't want it any more than a thou. But I do want it to move freely up and down on the shaft. Right, I am, well, you can see that, but I am getting it a thou plus a tenth. Sorry, 250 plus a tenth, so that's a thou. Right, now then, if we've got enough room, which we have just, I've rubbed this down before, we'll just try it. There. Now this is going to be split. Well, that's gone in. That's nice. That's a nice smooth finish. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to use this same boring bar and I'm just going to come up the face and put a nice flat all the way along there. I'll do that off camera. There's nothing spectacular about it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this round. I'm going to make sure it's running flat. I'm going to I'll probably put a packer behind it and do the other face as well. Measure it, make sure it's parallel, and that's done on here. I know some people will ask me why I didn't split this first. To be really honest, I forgot. But sometimes you can split them, put a packer in, bore them out, take the packer out, and the thing still closes in. So as it was, I just carried on and thought, well, push comes to shove, we'll see how it turns out. Now I had set this up, as I said, with a spacer behind, and I machined it to clean it up, so I had two nice clean faces. It was under the recommended size, but it's a clamp again, and I gave myself two faces and the whole clamp was parallel. Right, I just want to clean up round here, so what I've quickly done is just made a boss that slides in there, piece of scrap alley that I had, some washers on the end. I've got a little boss on that end because I've still got my rotary table sat in a vertical position, so I'm going to plonk it in there and just go around here and make a nice, just clean all this sharp stuff up and make it look a little bit better. I'll take some pictures as I go along. Like I say, it's still got a good enough wall thickness on it. It is for this clamp, like I say, round there. So I've got it nice and flat with inside a couple of thou around there. And I'll get a nice even wall all the way around there, like I say, and get rid of some of this bull. So I'll take some pictures and you can see what it looks like. Well, said pictures, I might as well at least show you what I'm doing. Like I say, because I've still got this set up vertically, I've knocked this boss up quick, put myself a cutter in there. Like I say, I just want to clean up so it looks a bit nicer. We'll see how we go. know I've got a high spot here, so I'm just going to work it down and see how it is. Quite off actually, quite a bit of a high spot on this side. Yeah, it's just starting to get rid of it now. I'll make myself a little mark. I'll just stop the cutter there and mark what degrees I'm on, because I started off, clock that round about 0, so I'll mark a degree where I am. Just felt tip it. Hang on. And then I can go around the other side, put a tip mark there as well, and go back to the same position. Right, so I'll do a little bit of chipping away and get back to you in a while. Right, now I've cleaned up around the edge of there, that's reasonable. And what I've done, I've worked out how wide that is, just halved it and roughly touched on my cutter and make sure I'm touching on. Just jigged it round a little bit so it's even, and I've just got a scratch. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to clean the face up on either side, knowing what sizes I've got. It asks you to spot one face later on, and it wants a step on this side so that when the pin goes through, the pin's got a flat on it so it doesn't revolve. But I'm just going to clean the face up, clean that face up, and I'm just going to ever so slightly do a witness along there, so when I put it in the vise I can turn it like vertical and just put a square on the end, and I know I've got a square face. Then it's not critical along there, but it gives me something to line up on. I flick the two faces up equal, and as I said, put that little witness mark along the front of it so I can square it up later on. I was going to blend all of that in when it's all finished. So as we can see now, I've got my two faces. Yes, they're a little bit undersized, but they're cleaned up. That's just the way they're casting. Thickness wise, we're within 1/4 thou, and I've cleaned all the way around. See, that looks a lot nicer to me than what it did do before. Yeah, I've still got a little bit of marks here, but I'll clean these up. And I've got my flat face there, my flat face there, a little bit of a witness along there. So when I set it up in my vise later on, I can put a square up there, and know these faces should be pretty square. I'll soon check. And then I've got a drill through, and like I say, and then I've got a cutout there. After I've done, or before I do, I've got a splitter as well, but I've got a cutout there so that the shaft that's going through, hang on, this shaft goes through like so, but this has a flat on it, and there's a flat in relationship so that when that sits in there it won't revolve. So the flat's got to be a size to match the piece I'm going to nick out there. That goes all the way through, and it, like I say, it just stops it spinning while you're adjusting it, so you don't have to adjust the other end. Right, so we'll get all this lot cleaned up now, try and get rid of all the filings, get this off, and get the vise back on. I started doing the next bit here, and like a right plant pot, had my camera set up for taking pictures, not doing videos. I might actually say in a little bit, so that's why you've got 2 pictures. Right, today's going well because what I've done is took photographs of that rather than video. Anyway, I've just flicked either end up then, measured it and got 1.905, and we're going down to 1.875, so I've got 30 thou to take off it. Right, get a light up. 8, 25, 50, 75. We are 1, 2, 2.5 thou up. I can live with that for what it is. Let's say it's not much, and I'm sure that won't mind in the slightest. Right, like I say, we're all squared up. Got my centre drilling. We'll have a bit more of an higher speed. Centre on this block. Just going to use this stop. I've got my very thin parallels in. The first hole, there's 2 3/16 holes, and they're equal. So from either end. So 3/16 in, 3/16, and they're obviously 90 degrees to each other. So I've locked my Y, because we're not moving anywhere in Y anyway. So, right. So, 1, 8, 87. What are we on? For those of you that like me that can't remember, I've got a big chart on 87. Right, now I'm also just going to nip up my X as well. Right. Once you find yourself a 3/16 drill, I think we could do it being a bit higher. There we go. A little bit higher. See what it's like on fast speed still. Right, that's that one done. Now I'm just going to take it off camera now, deburr it, bring it back. Right, deburred the holes. Now like I say, there is another hole in that end at 90 degrees. So I'm going to rely on my stop. I mean, if you just want to check, you can find your rule. And do a quick measure. .3/16. Like I say, these aren't tied up, but we want to try and get it at least right. Right, so we've got our two holes in the end at 90 degrees. Just a bit more. And then what we've got then is a hole 5/8 up. It's finished, it's reamed 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go through first off. Get that in there. Right. So we'll go up 5/8. And again, I'm going to lock my table out, and I'm just going to get a slightly bigger centre drill. Right, so we've moved up for one of these 2 1/2 inch holes. Like I say, they're at 90 degrees to the small holes on either end. So I'm not going to go all the way through. I've got a what are we on? 31/64. It's about 15th thou down, and I'm going to ream through with that. But I'm going to go through with a smaller drill first. See how we go. Right, that's that one drilled out. Now I haven't got a chucking reamer, a 1/2 inch. Mine's on an MT2, so I'm going to have to swap all this lot out with an adapter to ream them out. So back in a tick. Right, get everything there, see a bit better. Everything's swapped out now with an adapter in there for my reamer on an MT taper. So nice slow speed, and we'll get it reamed out. Right, get that blown out. I'll swap it round, get that other hole done. I'll do that off camera. Right, reamed them both out now. This is the shaft, or one of the shafts that's going through. That's not a bad finish. And that one's alright as well. There's no wobble in that. Now, next thing to do, I've got to slit this, that one that way, and that one that way. And that's, it says a 1.6 or equivalent. Now, I've got a 1.5 slitting saw and the collar, so everything's going to be the same. You can obviously see we'll put a slit through here. But before I do that, I'm going to put these flats on here. There's a flat on one side and a flat on another side, and that's for when you put your pin in. You'll put a flat on your pin so it won't rotate. You'll have a thread on the other side. It'll hold it in, obviously there'll be a head on there, and you'll put a flat on it that'll sit inside that flat. We've got to make the pins yet, they're somewhere in the drawings. But I'll get this set up now. I'll get all this lot out and I'll get it set up for putting these flats in. Right, I've got now my 93 thou, and I've got my 3/16 drill here. Just make sure, so I know that goes through. Like I say, I've got a couple of thou that way, but as long as I know that's going to clear. Now, I'll set this out. Obviously, leave all that on the 0 and on X. I'll set this out, just deburr it, and flick it round 90 degrees, and obviously on the other side, and get the other bit done. I'll do that off camera. Right, there's two flats, one on that side, one on that side. Now, looking at, excuse me, looking at the drawing, you can see you've got that sat that kind of view because the handle's on that side and the flat's there with the handle on the back. So that to me looks like it's orientated in the right way. Now it's got some 45-degree chamfers on here, which I am now going to set up for. Which will be across there. These are just kind of cosmetic, but I'm going to put it on, and it's a little bit less when I do the slitting saw through there. So I'll get set up. I'll just get a 45-degree angle that I've got, put it in the vise, either side, turn it round and do exactly the same, whichever way around it is on that one. That way, right, and we'll try and do it so we can see what we're doing. Right, this is just a simple job of putting it in an adjustable angle block that I had, putting up behind it, set it up for 45 degrees, come down to a fixed depth on either side and just repeat it, deburr it, repeat it, turn it round the other way, repeat it, job done. Right, that's what it should have been in the first place. So that's a little bit of play, but I'm not bothered about that. That means it's not going to move. So I shall have to make a spacer for the other end. Now then, because I've took off the same amount, I shall check it against the measurements I took first off, and we should have took 6mm off. And then I can just halve that distance and get set up for the slitting saw. This is just me touching on with a feeler gauge and then pitching down obviously the feeler gauge width and then half the slitting saw, and then the distance you was going for half of the cut, and then taking about 18-90 thou cuts off at a time. I was quite happy doing all of that. I was quite pleased with it actually. I think I've only ever used this slitting saw one time before, but obviously cast iron, don't need to use any lubricant. Right, well that's gone through. Right, well that looks alright. It's to go on here. So right, well let's say minor drop bollock, well major drop bollock on that, but at least that hasn't pulled in, so that fits in there. I will then have to do my, you can see how the thread's showing there, so I'll have to do a spacer. I'll dress around there and I'll do a spacer, and that's all ready for the handles, which I'll be making loads of apparently. But anyway, that's that bit done. I've now got to slit where we got this piece. So where we've got the slitting saw in, we'll get set up and do this. Right, that's I call it a knuckle joint, whatever you want to call it. That's done. Now these things, triangular little files, some call those jeweller's files, very handy for doing inside of these and deburring them all. I use them for cleaning my threads up as well when I screw cut.